بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We had actually begun nameworthy character traits and we discussed greed. Now let's move on to the next one that he discusses, which is called covetousness. Covetousness is actually very similar to greed, slightly different level, a slightly different understanding. The heart's obsession with wealth is greed, he had said. And in this case, covetousness means a preference for things that conflict with the Sharia. So he's got his own kind of understanding here, covetousness, right? Which is tama in Arabic. That's what he uses, the concept of tama. And in the other word is hirs. So hirs is a more natural thing. Tama is a spiritual problem. Allah Most High says, follow not caprice, for it will lead you astray. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا الْهَوَى فَيُضِلَّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. So he's using that verse of hawa in the meaning of excessive tama, of something besides what the Sharia wants for us. The Prophet ﷺ said, a weakling is the one who follows his desire and then has hopes of Allah, of compensation from Allah, which essentially means وَالْعَاجِزُ مَنْ أَتْبَعَ نَفْسَهُ هَوَاهَا وَتَمَنَّى عَلَى اللَّهِ. وَالْعَاجِز, the translation is weakling. It could refer to the feeble one. But weakling sounds, I think, better. The nature of covetousness. Covetousness or tama means preference for things that conflict with the Sharia. The highest degree of such desire is unbelief and associating others with Allah. Meaning if somebody has that kind of tama, then obviously that's the worst possible manifestation of that. The lowest degree is what people within Islam will have, is distraction from perfect obedience because of being busy with other things. That is tama. So essentially what he's saying is that if we're unable to fulfill all of the obligations of the Sharia or prohibitions because we're misled, distracted, when I say misled, I mean distracted and occupied with other things of the dunya, then that is tama. That is the level of tama. Straying from the straight path is common to all forms of covetousness. What is the remedy for this? He says the remedy for covetousness is spiritual struggle to accustom oneself to oppose the desires of the lower self so that the carnal and material cravings of the self become subordinate to the pleasure of Allah Most High. That does take time, needs high resolve. The points which are beneficial in that regard are to stay with good company, because in the shaitan ya'idukum al-faqra wa ya'murukum bil-fahsha. So shaitan is, when a person wants to change or has that moment of realization, shaitan is constantly going to be telling you that, oh, but you're going to be worse off. You're not going to be able to catch up with so-and-so. You're not going to be able to buy this and that. You're not going to be able to enjoy life. You're not going to be able to relax. The way of the Sharia is uptight. The way of the Sharia is dry. It's boring. It is tiresome. It is toil. It is difficult. And it's not worth it. So if you see others who are, mashallah, happy and they are following the deed, that company is massively beneficial, especially if you can find a mentor who can help you in that regard and guide you specifically to your condition that you can share things with. That would be even better. Otherwise, for people with a conscience, then they will have to go through a personal crisis for them to be able to change their paradigm. Because when they go through a crisis and they have iman and they feel that they are being punished maybe, or they're not getting the support they want from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they maybe rightly diagnose it as them being distracted and focused on the wrong thing. So then in that case, they would be very vulnerable at that moment, and then may make them change their perspective. But why wait for such like that to happen? The reason why it's so difficult though is because we become so accustomed to it when everybody around us are doing the same thing and they're all part of the same rat race. So then we become accustomed to it because people ask us, what about you? They share their stories, their accomplishments, their so-called successes, or maybe their losses. And then we get impacted by those same things. So then we think we have to be a certain way. Most of the time, we're not going to be surrounded by good, righteous, pious, ascetic people who tell us the wonders and the beauties of asceticism and satisfaction and qana'a and so on. So you just never have that kind of feed. We never have that kind of input. It's always an input of greed and more and ziyada and indulgence and distraction and excitement and so on and so forth. So we are the products of what we hear and what we see and what we experience. That's why it's very difficult. So he's saying spiritual struggle is what's going to get you out of this. How do you even start the spiritual struggle until you realize? So spiritual struggle is to restrain the demands of the lower self, whether such restraint is simple or difficult. And clearly some of it is going to be difficult, but you're going to be rewarded for that. For every spiritual struggle we do, we're rewarded for it. We give up something haram or doubtful. Inshallah, you're going to be rewarded for it, but you got to know that you're going to be rewarded for it to be able to make that decision. Otherwise, you're not going to make that decision because from the zahir, on the apparent face of it, it looks like you're going to lose because that deal is too good and it's a solid deal and you will make money if you do that deal. But then you realize there's a doubt associated with it and it's a substantial doubt, significant doubt. It's not just a whim. Then you'd have to have a lot of taqwa or iman, or forget taqwa or iman. That is part of taqwa or iman, but you'd have to have a lot of trust in the promise that if you give up, وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ وَمَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Those verses are amazing. I think they need to be repeated over and over again so that we can apply them to. Otherwise, why would you give it up? Why would you give up your distraction when your distraction is paying you dividends? That's the difficulty of the life of this world, especially when we're not among people that can remind us of the correct way in things, and we don't read enough examples of that. That's why they say that that book, Fadail Sadaqat, is very, very beneficial because it literally, I think it deals with this topic of distraction and greed and so on, giving in the path of Allah, getting your lot back so it improves and enhances the idea of Allah giving back and putting your trust in Allah. So this deals with tawakkul. May Allah make it easy for us. The next one is the much more detailed one, which will inshallah in the next section is about anger. We'll do that together in the next one, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. MashaAllah, it's very, very cold today and I'm rubbing my hands. But very important message. Would you like a place in paradise, in Jannah, a place with bricks of gold and silver, mortar of fragrant musk, pebbles of pearls and sapphire, soils of saffron? You may have not heard me talk like this before, but mashallah, gardens outside the palaces will have streams flowing beneath them. The streams of Jannah will be crystal clear water. And then after that, you're going to have others with milk and of honey and rivers, mashallah. Brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever builds a masjid for Allah, Allah will build for him likewise in paradise, something similar in paradise. White Thread Institute, which you all know inshallah, desperately needs to develop this center of ours to accommodate people, students, and worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This area doesn't have a masjid, so we want to give service to all sections of the community once this is built, including the wider society. We need to raise 450,000 to achieve this. We just need 44,500 special people to donate just £100 each to reach our target. Brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ said, I'm going to reiterate, whoever builds a masjid for Allah, Allah will build for him similar in paradise. What an amazing reward this is. Imagine, if you just donate £100 in this world, Allah will build for you a house in paradise. Not just any house. A paradise house is not any house. Whatever your heart desires will be in this place. Not only this, brothers and sisters, but this project is also sadaqah jariyah, which means a continuous charity. If you donate, then anytime somebody prays here, worships here, learns anything from here and prays elsewhere, you get the same reward, inshallah. Every person who learns the Quran, reads, you will get the same reward, inshallah. What an amazing reward, subhanallah, that is waiting for you. All for just £100. Brothers and sisters, build your home in paradise. donate towards this masjid. On the button below, hit the link. And one more thing, please, share this video, and anybody else that donates, because of your sharing this video, inshallah, you will be rewarded as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Allah reward you. Jazakumullah khairan.
If you're enjoying our content and want to see more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support helps us grow and reach more people. Also, if you'd like to help us produce even more frequent and high-quality content, consider contributing to us on Patreon. Every little bit helps, and it means the world to us. So, share with your friends, and let's keep this journey going together. Thanks for all your support.